wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today I'm going to start the article Social Control, Conformity and Resistance. Page 15, the role of structure and agency in shaping the relationship between the individual and society, including an awareness of the differences between structuralist and interactionist point of views. So first of all, I just try to explain what is the article is all about. See that, I mean, for instance, we sociologists, what is the basic function of sociologists? They try to understand the behavior of the people. So there are two ways. One perspective is, you can say, it's a macro sociological, macro sociological approach. In macro sociological approach, we try to understand what is the structure of family, what is the structure of the different institutions, what are the structure of agencies, what is the structure of the government. So when we try to understand a society, we try to understand the structure of different institutions are tools through which an individual can change or shape its behavior. This is important to understand. So first thing is macro sociological approach. What is macro sociological approach? It's an approach through which we try to understand the bigger picture of the institutions which control or shape individuals behavior. For instance, I'm a teacher, so I am forced to act as a teacher because there are certain things which are associated by the society on me. There is certain restrictions as a family member on me. So I have a pressure which is unseen pressure on me to behave in a specific way. This is called the macro sociological approach, in which, again, I'm telling you, in which we try to understand the structure and the formation are the framework of different institutions which force or pressurize a person's behavior. This is called macro sociological approach. The second approach is micro, the smaller one, micro sociological approach. In micro sociological approach, we try to understand the behavior of an individual. So in micro, we try to understand the trivial thing, the smaller thing, or we try to understand the behavior of an individual, though it's very difficult to understand. Obviously there are billions of people in the whole world, so it's always difficult, and are million of type of people are available and on our planet earth. So this is difficult, but first of all, try to understand two things. First of all, macro sociological approach, in which we need to understand structure, role, formation, framework of institutions like family, like education, like healthcare, like government. So the bigger institutions are studied by sociologists, and those institutions are those tools which pressurize an individual to remain in a specific role. So this is what we have in macro sociological approach. In the second thing, we have micro sociological approach. In micro sociological approach, we try to understand the behavior, the role played by an individual. So in micro sociological approach, we simply try to understand what is an individual. And in micro sociological approach, individual is all alone. It's all about, not all alone, all about. I mean, whatever he likes to do, he can do. So but this method, as I mentioned earlier, is difficult. So it's macro a sociological approach, micro sociological approach. When we talk about the macro sociological approach, so you can say the people are the sociologists who work under the banner of macro sociological approach. They are called structuralists. When we talk about structuralists, because they simply believe on the structure of the institutions, they are structuralists. And in structuralists, there are two perspectives, two theories we have. First of all, functionalist and Marxist. So Marxist and functionalist, they emphasize, they accentuate on the importance of the study of structuralism. Structuralism means just to try to understand what is the structure of different institutions. Who? Functionalist and Marxist. So functionalist and Marxist believe in structuralism. They believe in structuralism. What is structuralism? Structuralism, again, macro sociological approach, right? In now try to understand the behavior, the structure of bigger institutions. which, and in those institutions especially who has a kind of pressure. For instance, I can't drive more than 150 kilometers per hour on roads. Why? Because I know our police is an institution, law, and what is the responsibility of police? To maintain law and order. So I won't even try to cross the speed limit. Why? Because I know, I'm confirmed, if I cross a speed limit, I will be fined. I have to pay the penalty for that. So my behavior, my restriction, or even I can give you an example. I can't smoke in public places. Why not? Because if I simply smoke in public places, I have to pay the penalty. I have been charged with a certain amount, and it's always painful to simply give away your money, which I mean obviously earn with a lot of hard work and patience. So different institutions through law and order try to pressurize you just to be in your limits. Even a family is an institution. Yes, if I belong to a noble family, my family has a reputation in the city, so I'm not convinced to do what is totally against the goodwill of my family. So in macro sociological perspective, institutions are important to understand. So let's go and let's get started to our article. The two main theories in sociology, functionalist theory and the Marxist theory, provides different interpretations of how order and control are created and maintained. Both perspectives are structuralist. It means functionalist and Marxist theories are the perspective of structuralist. Are macrosociological. They argue that how societies are organized at the level of families, government, and economies, the institutional R system level, determines how individuals view their world and behave within its structural determinism. This perspective presents society as a powerful force and control and shape how people think and behave. This makes them fundamentally different to another approach that has always been present in sociology, the interactionist view, which focuses on the microsociological approach and how individuals can shape the social world. So obviously you try to understand this. There are two different things. In macrosociological society, uh, different tools, different organization, different departments, they play their part in shaping individuals' behavior. On the other side, parallel to this, it's interactionist, and in interactionist, actually humans are there to shape the society. Structuralist theory originated in the work of Durkheim and Karl Marx. From a structuralist perspective, social action is product of deep and underlying forces in society that reach beyond the level of individual consciousness and control. These structural forces shape our behavior and have a major influence on our thought processes. Marx claimed that the capitalist relationship of production were the main structural force in modern industrial societies. The way in which capitalist production of goods and services is organized, with the workers separated from ownership of land and factory, can be seen as an invisible system that controls the way in which all other aspects of a society operate. By contrast, the functionalist perspective sees the structure of society more in terms of the institutional arrangement required to ensure the smooth running of society. So, for example, institutions such as the family, education, and government are associated with established pattern of behavior that together create an order and structure in society. So, in this paragraph, there are two things to be noticed. One thing, as I mentioned earlier, in structuralist perspective, that we got two different point of view. First is Marxist approach, and secondly, it is functionalist approach. According to Marxist, it's all about the negativity of the capitalist society. I mean, the ownership, the way the society is shaped up. It is totally on the will of a rich class. I mean, a upper class which simply have the legacy, has the prerogative to change the society according to their own will. They simply make laws according to their own will. They simply control through factories, to products, to consumerism. All the factors which are included in markets just to exploit the individuals, the pressurize individuals to work to survive. So, according to Marxist theory, the capitalist society has a negative impact on individuals, on societies, because they exploit all the individuals for their personal benefits. When we talk about the personal benefits, the personal benefit means the benefits of the upper class. Upper class means a specific class which control all the resources. On the other hand, on the other hand, we can see it's if we talk about the functionalist, So the functionalists, they simply talk about, I mean, there is a melange, there is a hodgepodge of different institutions, they gel together to format a society. So, I mean, without the specific or the proportional contribution of different institutions, a society cannot be organized. For instance, a family play a pivotal part, education, government institutions, law and order, police, judiciary, all gel together to form a society. And if something is missing in the society, one can say that, so we can say our society is to some extent dysfunctional. If family is not giving its best in socialization, obviously society can't produce good individuals. So same is the case if government is not able to protect the rights of the individuals. I mean, obviously families are far away from their function, especially, I mean, the socialization or the primary socialization. For structuralists, the established social order represents a powerful force that the individual has little or no freedom to oppose. For various reasons, people accept the established institutional pattern of behavior as if they were a hidden force controlling their action. By following social rules in this way, each person's action reflects the strong influence of the social structure. For structuralists, therefore, sociology should be the study of the effect of the structure of society on social life. In other words, sociologists should adopt a macro or large-scale view. This action of the individual should be explained in terms of the influence of the overall structure or organizational arrangement of society. For example, a structural explanation might identify poverty, which can be seen as a part of the structure of society, as the cause of an increase in the crime rate. Likewise, difference in suicide rate might be explained in terms of difference in beliefs and practices between religious groups, religious institutions being a part of the structure of the society. So, I mean, for structuralists, it's always important to understand the structure of different institutions, because it is quite easy to understand society if you're able to understand the function or the formation or the structure of different institutions organization. So according the thing or the examples which are here in the paragraph, it's, I mean, for instance, if you simply see the rate of suicide in the year 2022 has increased or jacked up. So there must be a reason behind why people like to commit suicide. Or what are the circumstances? So basically, a parameter of suicide can reflect multiple arguments, multiple fields to be explained. For instance, even religious belief. If you people are living in in a place or in a community where different religious groups are living together and they are to some extent more extremist or the radicalist in their approach. So I mean, it's always difficult to be there to live. Second example, which is given, if in a specific area you can say the poverty level is rising with the passage of time, so there must be an increase in the crime rate, because obviously, I mean, the people who lost their job or were not able to meet their means, they need to get some alternative ways to eke out or to win the bread for their kids or their families. So, according to structuralists, it's important to understand the structure of the institutions, and by understanding one or two uh, organization or institutions, we are able to have a good picture to understand what the society is and how the society can work. The idea of social structure becomes a little clearer if we think about the different ways in which behavior is governed by informal rules or norms that define expected behavior in any given situation. Every relationship we form, such as making a new friend, becoming a parent, or getting a new boss, involves playing a role, an idea that refers to people playing a part in society. Just as an actor performs a role in a play, people take on and perform various roles, such as student, sister, brother, friend, and employees in their day-to-day life. So this is the one point. You see that if you try to understand the behavior of an individual, you have to look the different roles played by an individual. For instance, I'm a teacher. At the same time, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother, and I'm a friend of a couple of people. So just to understand me, it's always difficult to know. I mean, it's possible I'm a good father but not a good husband. It's possible I'm a good teacher, not a good son. So I'm in a person who is performing multiple functions. So it's always difficult to evaluate a person through all its roles. This is the difficult thing. Each role has a certain associated values or beliefs about how something should be. For example, we may believe that friends should keep the secrets we tell them. There are also norms associated with each role, such as friends helping us if we are in trouble. Every time we play a role, therefore, we experience the effect of a social structure, rules that shape our behavioral choices. The social structures apply a significant influence on how we behave. So the last thing in this paragraph, it's all about, as I mentioned earlier, at the same time we are performing different roles. When we are performing different roles, so I mean we are constantly on a check. We are constantly on a check while we're living. We There are certain things which are informal as far as our behavior is concerned, but most of the time we have to follow a formal structure, a hidden force which simply controlling ourselves. As many times I mentioned, as a teacher, there are certain hidden pressure, other forces on me. See that I'm in front of a camera, I'm talking to you, so I need to prove my dexterity. I need to prove my sagacity in a specific subject. If I'm able to transform, if I'm able to simply deliver what I have in an appropriate way, so then I am considered to be a good teacher. And there are so many things which are attached with this with my role as a teacher: how disciplined I am, how regular I am, how my way of behavior, my articulation, how friendly I am, how comfortable my students are while they are staying with me while I'm teaching to them. So there are so many things which are attached to a specific role. And when once a person is performing multi roles, so the person is most of the time on a pressure, on a check, how to behave in a specific level. So the consensus structuralism. A functionalist is a consensus structuralist approach. For functionalists, any explanation of how order and stability are created and maintained involves looking at how society is organized at the level of the social system. This involves the idea that various parts of a society, family, education, work, and so on, work in harmony. Each part is dependent on others, just as the different parts of the body, such as the heart, lungs, and brain, work together to form something more complex than the sum of their individual parts. A living body. The different part of a society works together to form a social system. Parsons argued that every social system consists of four functional subsystems: political, economic, culture, and family. Each of these subsystems perform a different but related functions that address certain problems faced by every society. So, the consensus structuralism, as it is terms mentioning consensus structuralism. So, what is structuralism? Structuralism means to understand the structure of different institutions. So, consensus, it means there must be some cohesive, or there must be something common in all the institutions working together on a specific person. So if they are in a harmony, if they are on a consensus level, so one can say that society will boom, the society will be on the way to its prosperity. The example which is given in the paragraph is all about our body. See that heart, our brain, our lungs, kidneys, hands. So there's all the organs need to be in harmony, need to be in a specific alignment just to perform a complex system. I mean, see, we breathe, we inhale oxygen, it's exchange of gases, the chemical reactions every single moment. We are metabolic process, chemical reactions, the genes, the making of new cells, uh, and the destruction of the old cells. There's so much things which are involved, and individual is a complex phenomena. There's so much things which are so complex. How our heart pumps, how the blood goes to lungs, the exchange of oxygen, other gases. So it's all complexities which are in our body. The same is the case with the society. If you want to work society in harmony, there must be consensus of all the institutions. They need to be on the same page, all the stakeholders on the same pages to perform the better. The connections between the various parts of the social system, family, culture, work, and government are created by institutional purpose and needs, while order is created at the institution level through these relationships. Parson explain how individuals fit into the overall structure of the society on the basis of the functional prerequisite. Things that must happen if society to function properly. For individual to survive and to do well, they need to be a part of a larger cooperative group. They must combine to solve important problems. Every social institutions, from families to school to workplace, must develop ways to ensure that individual confirm of the need of the both the institution and the society as a whole. So the crux in a sentence is we need to understand. I mean, the most of the time, all the institutions should have have a framework. And what is the basic purpose of this framework? You need to work for the individuals, and you need to give comfort to the individuals so they can, in return, comfort the society, or they can simply promote consensus within the society for the smooth transaction, for the smooth prosperity. So, for Parsons, institutions do this by developing ways to solve four problems of their existence. We can show these using the example of education. Goal maintenance. Institutions must provide people with goals to achieve, such as academic qualification. Now we have education. First, education gives you a goal. What is your destination? What is the purpose? I mean, you just want to get education, or you need to improve your inner self. You need to improve the talent you have. Just try to expose your talent and how you can work well in education by learning. Adaptation. To achieve institutional goals, people need to cooperate environments such as classroom and teachers within which people can work. So first is the goal maintenance. We are talking about education. First is, what is the goal? We need to understand, and it's for all. Family, why you get married, you have a certain goals. What is adaptation? You know how to live dependently or independently. There are two different things while working in a family. Third, integration. People must be motivated to achieve educational goals, and one way to do this to encourage a sense of belonging to both and the wider society. So integration. The fourth is latency. Conflicts within an institutions must be managed, and rule created to encourage desirability behavior and punish rule breaking. Deviance. In schools, these rules cover things such as attendance, behavior, and dress. They are designed to maintain a particular way of life in the institution. Societies and their institutions can only function if people feel they are part of a much larger community. This requires the moment members of society to be socialized into a shared value system. Creating consensus behavior will then be the same, consistent, and broadly predictable, so that social order is maintained for the benefit of everyone. Agencies of socialization and social control are therefore essential in creating a stable society based on shared values. People can be encouraged to conform willingly by convincing them that following certain rules in their best interest. If they fail, however, institutions might use agents of control that could be soft, for example, teachers, are hard, the police, or the armed forces. So, according to Parsons, there are four things in every institution. So, first of all, you need to know what is your goal, what you want to do. This is first thing. The adaptation. What is adaptation? How you live in a society just to work with different people of different backgrounds, different culture, different beliefs. So first, you need to maintain what is your goal. Our institutions give us an opportunity to understand what our goals should be. Secondly, every single institution give us an opportunity just for adaptation. We need to have an adaptation when we're working within family, or we are outside the family, or we are working on a working place. Integrations mean, the third thing is, society doesn't only not there just to give you the benefits, but at the same time, just society or any institution give you a boost, encourage you to integrate something big. I mean, it's the responsibility of the institutions to give you the courage. You simply start thinking beyond your limitations. I mean, for instance, I'm happy because I'm earning good. So this is not my destination. I need to work. Yes, okay, I will earn this. I will do this for the betterment of my society. This is called integration. Yes, I'm here just to eke out, just to I'm the breadwinner for my family members. So this is I should not be restricted to a certain level. Integration means it is the responsibility of the society or this institution just to give you a courage to think what you can do more and more. So this is called integration. And the fourth thing is latency. Latency is obviously when we are working in a place, there are not things which are totally favorable to you. So we need to be a latent a bit. I mean, for instance, yes, there are certain things which is good, there are certain things which are bad, there are certain things which is appropriate, which is comfortable, which give us the comfort, but there are certain things which is totally beyond our can, that beyond our control. So latency means you should be ready For this, either the things are in your favor, okay, if they are not in your favor, still you need to work, you need to consider, how can you improve your personality on a larger scale. So deviance, what is deviance? This is the key term: a behavior that break the norms or the values of a group. Deviance means, what is deviance? It's a process in which you start taking away, you are parting away from your general community, you're away from the specific group. You are, for instance, living in a community. If you start doing something which is against the will of your community, against the will of your group, even against the will of your family, so it means this is a process which is called deviance. Conflict structuralism, whereas the consensus approach concentrates on how societies determine our lives for the benefit of all. Conflict structuralism shows this work to divide society so that powerful groups can control society at the cost of relatively powerless groups. Societies may appear stable but are based on conflict of interest between groups. The leading conflict structuralist approach is Marxist. See this the economic term with different social classes fighting against each other. Feminists express this conflict in gender terms, with men as more powerful than women in the most or all societies. So when we talk about the, so see, as I in the very start of my article or my this lecture, I told you, when we talk about the structuralism, in structuralism we got two approaches. One is functionalist and second is Marxist. In functionalist, I told you about the consensus structuralism, and now I'm telling you about the conflict structuralism. The conflict structuralism is all about the society is divided in different groups, and these groups are against each other. It's not about the consensus. If we try to understand society, we need to understand what is the conflict structuralism. And in consensus structuralism, we have functionalist approach. In conflict structuralism, we have a Marxist approach. According to Marxists, it's all about the differences of classes with work, our society, because it's the interest of a rich class. They want to get more and more money, and just to exploit the interest of the poor people, they just try to keep on pushing the middle class or the lower class on to the wall. So basically, on the Marxist level, one can say that it's all about the class differences. It's all about the social injustice, is social inequality, which makes the society go round. So let's talk about the Marxist approach. For Marxist, work is the most important activity in any society because no other social activity, politics, family, or culture can exist without people first having found a way to survive. That's how work is socially organized, who does it, what they do, and who benefits from it. That is the key to understand how all other social relationships are organized. Marxist refers to a relationship between base and superstructure. By this, they mean the relationship between the economic, political, and ideological institutions, which they claim is the basis for the social order and control. So, if you try to understand Marxist approach or the conflict structuralism, you need to understand there are three things which are involved with each other: the economics, the political, and the ideological institution. The economic base is the basis or foundation on which society is built. It is the world of work and involve particular type of relationship, the relations of production such as owner, manager, laborers, and organization. The capitalist workplace is organized in order, one group above another. Those further up in the order hierarchy have more power and control than those lower down. So very first thing, first of all, according to Marcus, there are three type level of institutions. So first of all, it's all about the economic, then it's about the political, and the last is the ideological. So when we talk about the economics, it's all about we're living in a world of work. We work, then we will survive. We don't work, we are nobody, because we are living in a competitive world where you have to snatch apart. It's always difficult, lesser resources, more population. So according to Marcus, you have to fight for your right. The political and ideological superstructures rest on the economic basis and involves political institutions such as government and agencies of the social control, the police, the judge, and the court, and the ideological institution including religion, education, and the mass media. The workplace is the key area of conflict because of its organizational structure. In the capitalist society, the means of economic production, the tools, factories, and machines that are used to create wealth are owned by one class. The bourgeois are the ruling class. The majority owns little or nothing and so are forced to sell their ability to work. This ability is known as their labor power. It is the part of what Marxists call the forces of production. So, according to Marxists, first of all, we need to understand three different institution levels. The first of all, it's all about economics level. In economics, it's the basic, it's the foundation. You have to work, and obviously, when you work, you are working somewhere. And if you're working in a factory, you're working in the fields. So obviously, the lands belong to a landowner and are industrialist. So there must be an exposure of the class differences, is social injustice. So this is the first thing. This is the basis of the formation of the society. And according to Marxist, capitalists always there to exploit uh, the poor people are the remaining classes for their own benefit. The political and the ideological superstructure. When we talk about the political, it's police, it's government, it's judiciary, the law and order, the courts. They force, they control, they have the power to provide the social control in the society, because unless until we don't have police, don't have judges, don't have courts, we are far away from the harmony, we are far away from consensus. So this is, and the last thing, the ideological institutions, including religion, uh, education, and mass media. Obviously, all these factors are very important in shaping the one's behavior. We are exposure, we are living 21st century, we are taught away from whatever you want to see, we want to observe. So mass media is there, can simply change, revolutionize our mind. No, through mass media, one can be able to understand, change its ideology, and it's a very effective tool. It's a very effective, you can say, the tool of propaganda through which you can, work wonders through mass media. So in capitalist society, members of a small bourgeois class becomes very rich because they keep the profit made from the goods and services, and most people own nothing but the ability to work for wages. The emphasis on the conflict suggests that capitalist society are naturally weak or unstable. How this is not the case, Marxists argue that the ruling class is not only economically powerful but also politically powerful. It controls what Althusser called respective state operators, RSA, are the ways of getting people to confront by the force. This may range from hard policing the police and the armed forces as the agent of the social control to soft policing social workers and welfare agencies, policing the behavior of the lower classes. Order and stability are maintained at the system level through the institutions that make up the political and ideological superstructure. These, in turn are controlled by a ruling class whose power comes from the ownership of the economic base. Most people are fixed into the capitalist society by the need to earn a living for themselves and their family. They are also fixed in by a range of ideas that support the current system, which are separate spread by the media, education, religion, and other institutions. Socialization, therefore, is an effective form of control, a type of ideological control that seeks either to convince people that the interests of the ruling class are really the interest of everyone, or to present society as impossible for the individual to influence or change. Socializations may be for effective in the long term because people include the basic ideology of capitalism in their personal value system. However, this involves making economic and political agreement with the lower classes to ensure their cooperation. So, according to this, we need to understand, the ownership, the control of the institutions, as the media also play their part. So, in the capitalist society, things are entirely different. If you're hardworking, you have a chance. Uh, to work well and to earn more. We have a couple of examples. The people who work hard, who are very, you can say, innovative. So by the innovation, they get a lot of money, they earn a lot of money. So in the process of socialization, one can say that, the ideology is very important. Either we're living in a capitalist society, or we are living in a market society or a socialist society. Things are always open for people to work just to take a better shape of the society, and at the micro level can shape a better behavior while negotiating with the differences of opinion in a society. So the next thing we have in the conflict structuralism, it's the feminist theory. According to feminist theory, as I mentioned earlier, Marxists simply believe they accentuate on the social inequality. They simply accentuate how the social injustice can take the society into a negative into a negative tone or a negative approach. But in when we talk about the feminist theory is all about the patriarchy. It's the male dominance. They simply consider males for all their happening with the women's. I mean, behind the things which are worse, which are happening worse, are bad to women. I mean, according to feminists, men are always there. So either on a macro level, one can say that all the societies are, you can say, patriarchy. They simply promote, you can say, fathers are the male persons for the dominance. They simply control the societies. Either you're working in a factory, you are the head of the family, you are the boss. So all the time, all the main position, all the decision making, all the things which are in a specific position, according to feminists, male dominance is always there. So we got a couple of variation in the feminism: liberal feminism, radical feminism. So although there are many forms of feminist theory, they all share the belief that contemporary societies are patriarchal. It's all about papa, that patriarchal. To some degree, the interests of the man are always considered more important than those of the women in basic terms. Therefore, order and control are based on the male power, expressed in two ways. Interpersonal power refers to things like physical violence or the various ways that female labor is exploited within the family group. So this is interpersonal. The culture power focuses on how male dominating society are structured to oppress and exploit women. In such societies, men dominate the highest level of economic, political, and cultural institutions. Different type of feminism emphasize different form of control as the way to understand a male dominating society or social order. For liberal feminism, one can say that it's all about the wages, it's all about the control of the man over our society. So once we can say about the liberal feminism, it's all about the control of the man. When we talk about the radical feminist, patriarchy is the source of the family oppression. Radical feminists believe that patriarchy is the feature of all known human society and result in men dominating the social order in two ways: public, such as the workplace, where women are paid less and have lower status, and the private. Obviously, at home, women has to pay double shift. They are double shift and even triple shift as well. So radical, it's all about, the violence, and the liberal feminist is all about the not equal right. This we have for today. Take great care of yourself, and hope to see you tomorrow with interactions. Until then, fi aman Allah.